Now AWS means Amazon Web Service. Now the question is, what is AWS? Amazon Web Service is a global public cloud provider, and as such, it has a global network of infrastructure to run and manage its many growing cloud services that support customers around the world. We can say that it is a cloud service provider for us. Now again, the AWS global cloud infrastructure is the most secure, extensive, and reliable cloud computing environment anywhere, on and off the planet. Whether you need to deploy your applications workload across the globe in a single click, or you want to build and deploy specific applications closer to your end user with single digit millisecond latency. AWS provides you the cloud infrastructure where and when you need it. With millions of active customers and tens of thousands of partners globally, AWS, the largest and the most dynamic ecosystem, the customer across virtually every industry and of every size, including the startups, enterprise, and public sector organizations, are running every imaginable use case on AWS. Now, let us discuss about AWS global infrastructure. What does the infrastructure that AWS consists of? The AWS global infrastructure consists of multiple geographical locations which are called as regions. You can see that I have written that there is a region. AWS regions are further divided into availability zones, which consist of one or more physically separated data center. Now these regions and the availability zones provide a way to build high available, fault tolerant and scalable infrastructure. Further, we are also having some edge locations and regional edge caches. In 2019, they have also started some points of presence. We will discuss in the next slide what is the meaning of points of presence here. Sorry. Now let us discuss about what does the region means. You will see in the figure, the region is a collection of availability zones that are geographically located close to one another. These are generally indicated by AJAX. AJAX means that the availability zones within the same city. AWS has deployed them across the globe to allow its worldwide customer base to take advantage of low latency connections. Each region will act independently of the others, with each will contain at least two availability zones. Hence you can understand in the same way that there is a one region, and that one region is connected with 2-3 availability zones. Then further availability zones are connected with the edges, and then they are connected with our customers. So means let us take an example. Suppose if an organization based in London was serving customer throughout Europe, then there would be no logical sense to deploy services in Sydney region, simply due to the latency response times for its customer. Instead, the company would select the region most appropriate for them, then the customer base, which may be London, Frankfurt, or Ireland region. Having global regions also allows for the compliance with regulations, laws, and governance relating to the data storage. If we are having the region-wise server or the region-wise infrastructure, then according to the legally, according to the law, according to the regulations of the government, we can follow the rules and regulations. Let us take a second example. Suppose you may be required to keep the data in a specific location, such as Europe. Now, having multiple regions within the location allows an organization to meet the requirement. Similarly, how utilizing multiple agents with a region creates a level of high availability. The same can be applied to utilizing multiple regions. You may want to know, you may want to use multiple regions if you are a global organization serving customers in different countries that have specific laws and governance about the use of data. In that case, you could even connect different DPCs together in different regions. As we have seen that some countries are having, they should not share the data of the, I think most of the countries having, their data should not be shared. But there is a breach in that data is shared. So some countries are very strict. That if data is shared, then they used to find the companies and there are tough policies. So these services can be used as per the region wide so that they can have a good services. Now, what do you mean by availability zones? Now, availability zones are essentially the physical data center of AWS. This is where the actual compute, storage, network, and database resources are hosted that we as a consumer provision within our virtual private cloud. It's a common misconception that single availability zone is equal to single data center. This is not the case. In fact, it is likely that multiple data centers located close together from a single availability zone. Each availability zone will always have at least one other availability zone that is geographically located within the same area, usually a city, linked by highly resilient and very low latency private fiber optic connections. However, each availability zones will be isolated from the other using separated power and network connectivity that minimizes impact of other availability zones should a single availability zone fail. Means we should connect with a separate power and a network because suppose if one availability zone's power or a network fail, then the other network, other availability zone should not fail. So they should be separated with another power or another power network. Now, further, these low latency links between availability zones are used by many AWS services to duplicate data for high availability and resilience purpose. These multiple availability zones with a region allows you to create high available and resilient application and services. By architecturing your solutions to utilize resources across more than one availability zones, ensure that minimal or no impact will occur to your infrastructure should an availability zone experience a failure will just happen. Anyone can deploy resources in the cloud, but architecting them in a way that ensure your infrastructure remains stable, available, and resilient when faced with a disaster is a different matter. Making use of at least two availability zones in a region helps you to maintain high availability of your infrastructure, and it's always recommended as a best practice. So this is all about the availability zone. Now, what do you mean by edge location? Edge locations are Amazon Web Service sites deployed in a major cities, and highly populated areas across the globe. They far out the number of availability zones available. While edge locations are not used to deploy your main infrastructure, such as EC2 instance, PTS storage, VPCs, or RDS resources like Amazon services, Amazon zones, AJets, Availability zones. They are used by AWS services such as AWS Cloud, Front, and AWS Lambda at the Edge, currently in preview, to cache data and reduce latency for end user access by using the edge location as a global content delivery network. We will discuss about this Lambda at the Edge and AWS CloudFront in the next session. As a result, edge locations are primarily used by end users who are accessing and using your services. Further, let us take an example of edge location. Suppose you have your website hosted at EC2 instance and S3 with only region with a configured CloudFront distribution associated. When user access your website from Europe, they would be redirected to the closest edge location in Europe, where cache data could be read on your website, significantly reducing latency. So these are some terminology that are used when you are working on the AWS or when you are using this AWS facility. So we will discuss these all terminology, then we will learn how to install AWS or how to work on AWS. Now, what is regional edge cache? I think cache memory you all know. In November 2016, AWS announced a new type of edge location called regional edge cache. This sits between your CloudFront origin server and the edge location. The regional edge cache has a large cache width than each of the individual edge location, and because data expands from the cache and the edge location, the data is retained at the regional edge caches. Therefore, when data is requested at the edge location that is no longer available, the edge location can remove the cache data from the regional cache edge cache instead of the origin server, which would have high latency. So, as the cache memory works in the computer, in the same way, the same concept was used here to improve the speed, also to increase the speed and with a high latency. Now, as we in the government, in AWS, Amazon has launched a new service known as points of presence. So another part of AWS global infrastructure are point of presence (POP). That is known as POP here. The POPs are used for both AWS CloudFront to deliver content to end user at high speeds and Lambda at the edge to run Lambda functions with the lowest possible latency. As of April 2018, there are 114 points of presence in 56 cities across 24 countries. Now, when we are working on the cloud computing, the main issue that is a fault tolerance. Means suppose a link is broken or some fault occurs, some servers are shut down or some mishappening occurs, then what will happen? Using the AWS cloud infrastructure, it is easy to design fault-tolerant infrastructure. We can achieve this by having multiple EC2 instances in different availability zones or even regions. It is unlikely event of an availability zone or entire region failing, your applications are not impacted. Other services like RDS, that is a relational database service, can achieve fault tolerance because they have multiple agent deployment models built in. Of course, there is always extra cost involved when having your server and data stored in multiple availability zones. By using these regions, you can also scale out your application to make sure they are as close to your end user as possible. For example, you have customers in both Europe and US. You can easily replicate your infrastructure by launching it in a different region. Now, benefits of AWS. That is a zero capital expense. Many people tend to believe that AWS or any other cloud-based solutions are only for riches. However, this is not the reality. We see that AWS is playing field level enabling startups to leverage high-end technologies and infrastructure needs with zero capital expense. Startups shying away from leveraging Oracle as their database or any other commercial software which demand high upfront licensing cost must explore AWS marketplace, and in high probability they might find those products in an hourly price model with no upfront cost. Means suppose you are starting a new business, suppose you are starting a startup, suppose you want to sorry you want to launch a website, then you just visit AWS marketplace where you can know the price model you can see there. You can calculate on your own also. You will find that instead of establishing the infrastructure, this is very cheaper to you all. Second is the no commitment. Whether you require a server for hosting a small website, a content delivery network for heavy traffic sites, reliable and scalable email services, data warehousing services, or the Hadoop cluster for your big data needs, AWS offers everything with absolutely no commitment at all, not even a month. All server-backed services are charged on hourly basis. So as soon as you terminate or stop a server, you won't be billed for next hour. So for a minute to minute you can, or with an hour to hour you can have your expense. Third is the get rid of negotiation. Surely price negotiation is not an expertise area for many. At least me, you can say that I cannot negotiate anymore. And whether we like spending our time and energy doing that even if we have the skill. AWS is highly focused on reducing infrastructure costs for their customer. They have reduced their pricing across various services more than 30 times in last few years. Tools like Trusted Advisor or third-party tools like Cloud Checker, Cloudability, Cloud etc. can provide you the insights to optimize cost within your existing setup on AWS. So these are some tools available on the net where you can compare the rates, compare the prices, compare the expenses all over the world, all over the planet, which company is giving or which company is taking what charges. You can compare here. Next benefit is the procurement. Procuring a new server might take time between several hours to 8 to 10 days, depending upon whether your infrastructure is whether your infrastructure is on premises, co-located, or if you are associated with a hosting provider. Similar time is needed to procure software license as well. However, AWS enables you to spin up new servers within a few minutes with no need to buy separate license for many operating system and software. So means suppose you want a new server, then within a hour you can procure from AWS. Or suppose if you are hiring it or buying it, then you will need 8 to 10 days to install it. Means your work will delay, your project will delay, your project cost will increase. So this AWS can support to reduce your project cost also. Next feature is that pay per use. Think of infinite space. Think of infinite space Think of infinite space for your backup and archival needs, ability to launch new servers, up scalable downscale a server CDN integration, thus transcoding media files, unlimited bandwidth, and many more highly scalable services. Features available to you while you pay used on your actual usage. Only. Next is the security feature. AWS has built a world-class high-security infrastructure, both physically and over the internet. Few highlights from the security measure mentioned on AWS website are: the data centers are staffed 24 by 7 by trained security, by trained security guards, and access is authorized strictly on a least privilege basis. Multiple geographic regions and ability zones allow you to remain resilient in the face of most failure modes, including natural disaster or system failure. Ability to configure built-in firewall rules from totally public to completely private or somewhere in between to control access of instance. Leverage identity and access management and cloud trail to keep track to all activities done by different users. Few other highlights include private subnets, multi-factor authentication, isolated government cloud, and encrypted data storage. Next is the flexibility and a global level. Forget about guesswork or a scientific analysis to identify your infrastructure needs. You can leverage auto-scaling to build a self-managing infrastructure aligned closely to the actual need based on traffic resource utilization. Amazon machines images. You maybe need to sign up clones in multiple regions for different environments within few minutes, eliminating the need to repeat the setup steps every time. Global leader. Amazon has a global presence with 10 regions, 36 availability zones, and more than 50 edge locations. So Gartner also mentioned that AWS has more than 5 times the compute capacity in use than the aggregate total of rest 14 service providers placed in the same Magic Quadrant. best in class for PaaS offering. AWS has come up with highly scalable managed services for database, caching, data warehousing, transcoding, storage, backup, infrastructure management, and application management. It decreases the overall time and efforts spent in setting up and managing the infrastructure, and thereby considerably decreasing the go-to-market cycle for end customers. Next is API. API are available in various programming languages to help you to manage your infrastructure programmatically. Whether it means launching a new instance or taking backups, anything is possible through API. In fact, APIs are more powerful than AWS management consoles. So these all were benefits of AWS. Now, let us something more on AWS. The one terminology that is the DevOps. DevOps is basically development and operation. Development and operation, collaboration, it's a union of a process. People and working product that enable continuous integration and continuous delivery of value to your end user. DevOps accelerate the process to deliver applications and software services at high speed and high velocity, so that organization can learn and adopt the market at its earliest. Also, it's minimizing the risk factor by continuously delivering and getting end user and stakeholder feedback at the early stages. DevOps and cloud is a combination one cannot resist. It not only makes the development process more efficient, but leads to business success as well. The advantages are many. On ground indication, reveal that DevOps is more productive way to develop software. Plus, it means better quality resulting code and faster delivery time. It also supports reliability, risk management, security, and many other are the two important advantages of DevOps. So this is all about AWS or some. There is more in AWS, but this is all the introduction about AWS. So for suppose you want to do a case study on AWS, then you can visit the website shown to you here and see that how TCA, this is about, this is a case study of Tata Sky. So you can see that how Tata Sky is using all its facility on AWS. This is all about AWS today, and thank you very much. I have asked the audience if there is any question. You can see the link shown in the slide. You can just open that site and go there and ask some questions. So this is all about today. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Be safe and stay at home only because Corona is affecting seriously. Thank you very much.